Hi, good afternoon from Los Angeles, Valerie Milano with the Hollywood Times and aspiringmagazine.com. And I want to welcome our two guests, and I'm going to have them introduce themselves. Thank you. I guess ladies first.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Hutchins. I'm the producer of the movie Spyral, which is a documentary that encompasses over 15 years of home video footage about one family going from normality to mania. It's a story about love, rock and roll, bipolar, and hope.
And I'm Randall White. I am
I have a terrible connection.
started out like any other relationship and learned a lot about mental illness over that relationship as it expressed itself with my wife. And so it's all real, it's all raw. The footage is compiled into a film to help other families avoid the kinds of tragic outcome that occurred to our family because of mental illness.
Okay, thank you both again. Can you share your insights into the central story of Spiral and the key themes it explores? I know we said a little bit about it at the beginning. And how did these themes resonate with you?
Sure. Some of the themes that come out of this is a very unique movie because it was put together 100% with home video footage, essentially. So we did not change one word or thing that happened in the story of the two people's lives in this story, Randall and his wife, Michelle. Some of the themes that emerge in this are dealing with medical care in America.
Mhm.
Also the drug industry and prescriptions, family, child welfare, love and relationships, drug abuse, alcohol abuse. It's not a light topic. But it's meant to shine a light on how all of these go hand in hand. And the name is purposeful, Spiral, because your life can spiral very, very quickly out of control. And this is meant to be a look at what we don't want to happen to another family.
And another part is the unrock and roll part of parenting, right? When you have to adult and it comes with a lot of responsibility when you invite another human onto this planet and they are under your care. And when you're not capable of doing that level of care needed for your own children, that we have a crisis in this country that needs addressing in a better manner than it has been addressed. So the theme is also to finally be able to have the tough conversations this country needs to have. It's time.
Yeah, we've talked about this already, the documentary tackling the sensitive topics of bipolarism and drug abuse. So, Randall, what motivated you to be a part to start this project dealing with such personal and impactful issues? And how did you approach these subjects during production? I know how personal it is.
With about a bottle of wine a night, when I had all this footage, I made my own, kind of like a band has a demo tape and then they bring it to a record label to make their real album. I was putting together just to process what I had been through, my own kind of narrative of okay, you really went through this. You were brought to the brink of insanity yourself, and what can be learned from this for not only yourself, but I think you could help others. And so it was me just healing myself with what I found to be a cathartic process of just knowing what I had been through. And at the end of the day, I thought, wow, I have a story here that I believe will help people. And I'm not embarrassed of the details because it's what happened. It's not an interpretation. It is the footage of what happened. And so bringing that to Jen here when I arrived in Austin, because I moved from Oregon to Texas, uh, it was with her professional background that I thought I could hand this over to someone who can really do something with it. And I couldn't be luckier to have anyone else behind this project as producer besides Jennifer Hutchins.
Nice. The Spyral incorporates a variety of personal materials, including home videos and diaries. What was the process like for selecting particular ones and integrating these elements? And how did they shape the narrative of the film?
Yeah. I've been producing for quite a long time, and I happen to be producing a TV series about animal rescue. It was based in Central Texas. The director, Richard Linklater, known for Dazed and Confused and Boyhood, was a director on this, along with Bill Guttentag, who had won 2 Oscars and 3 Emmys. And it was right before the pandemic, and Randall had just come to me and shown me the footage that he had, and I was highly captivated, and not just by the footage, but by his attitude and beliefs of wanting to help people, and was willing to expose himself in order to make this happen. What I saw Bill and Rick doing with this TV series was just making these beautiful stories about human life and the human condition. And I just thought, Bill I believe could really shape this story and how it needs to be shaped, because we were looking at over 30 hours of home video footage to sort through and figure out which route to take or which angle to go. So it was quite the extensive process. Bill definitely took the lead on story decisions, and we would go back and forth on certain things. And we worked as a virtual team during the pandemic on once story decisions were made, we took a journalistic approach to make sure that we were telling this correctly. So even to say the words Michelle has bipolar, we're like, well, she didn't get 100% diagnosed, because every time she was manic, she was also a nurse. She was able to talk her way out of a hospital and not get 100% diagnosis. So we had footage analyzed by psychiatrists that specialize in addiction and bipolar, and we hired investigators to research comments we'd made about Michelle's father, who'd been in and out of prison and sold drugs. Well, is this true? Can we actually say this? And Randall was great to work with. He didn't get and tell us, well, I'm telling you it's true. And so, he worked with us on sharing aspects of his story and providing photographs, family albums, contact information for friends and family that we could call and interview and get their side of the story, while just allowing the producers and Bill, the director, to do his creative process and be able to tell the story in a very cohesive way for people to understand and digest.
Yeah, I really wish Bill could be on this the Zoom interview right now, but I know that he's tackling other matters. Mental health is a complex topic to portray. How did the team ensure a balance between an honest depiction and the sensitivity required when addressing such personal stories?
Right. You know, this movie does not have any sit down interviews or experts intertwined into this movie. It's not what this movie is about. This movie is essentially showing you a story that happened. So we show you what happened to this family as seen in their home video footage. Um, so in that sense, it was fairly easy because we didn't have to worry about being biased. Um, besides that, we wanted to make sure that we were telling Randall's story and Michelle's story, equally. And here's what's happened. That was one of the easier paths to go down if I'm answering this question.
Randall, do you have anything to add before I go to the next question?
No, I think Jen
Okay.
got that.
Yeah, the visual style of Spyral is distinctive. Can you describe the creative vision behind the film's visual elements and how they contribute to the overall storytelling?
Hey, Randall, why don't you take this about, how you started, why you started filming this footage and what you were using and how it, progressed over the 13 years.
Sure. Well, so I grew up in the 80s, and my dad had one of those VHS shoulder mounted cameras, and for home videos it took a VHS tape about this big, physical media. There was a time. And so I was just used to filming life, Christmases and vacations. And so when I started dating Michelle, I had a handy cam and we go out and we were discovering the beauty of Oregon together. There's so much. The state is seven wonders of the world in and of just that state itself. So two people falling in love, and there was only great intent of having memories into the future of positive things with all of the footage. And you see the technology change to where in our relationship we I get an iPhone and suddenly you have a camera with a much higher quality picture that can be pulled out at any moment. And I just thought too, as our relationship went on and on, with her expression of mental illness getting worse and worse, that I would show her herself back, because when you're in mania, it's kind of like being the Incredible Hulk, where you could wake up and say, "Well, why is there a hole in that wall over there?" And you really don't even have memory of what you might have done and during your manic psychosis. And so to have to confront yourself is one of the greatest things any human can do, when you can overcome your ego and admit you have a problem. And so I was trying to get Michelle to admit she had a problem with filming. It was out of love. It was out of love for her and out of love for my daughter, and out of also at some point self-preservation, because as you'll see in the film, it gets wild. Anybody with someone that has a significant mental illness, you realize that you're reflectors of one another. And if one of you is going crazy, the other will be dragged into that as well. And so the filming style is very much a gonzo journalism style of, there was no preparation. It was where it was being filmed when it was happening. So you get what you get, but the quality of the picture improves as the film goes on over time, as technology improved with our relationship.
What really worked for us as filmmakers, I date back to producing the series Chris Angel Mind Freak, and we used to go against the fourth wall, and you would see the audio guy in the back and the camera person, and people thought it was just, crappy filming. And at the time, it was very purposeful. We were saying what you see is what you get. This is so real. We don't even have time to set up the shot. And eventually, people caught on to that with reality shows, documentaries. And I saw this really raw, authentic shooting style that Randall had done. He didn't know he was the, director of photography at the time. He was just thought he was a normal guy filming his life. And then when he started purposely filming for potential child custody, that was purposeful. But what was so unique to me as a producer, the reason that I decided to greenlight this project was because he had somehow had the ability, just as somebody outside of the film industry, to hit record and actually get a shot. Like we could see what's happening, and there was a beginning, middle, and end, and he did it consistently. And there were so many real stories. It wasn't just broken up like, how do we put this together? It was like, now I'm going to call child welfare and record myself doing it from beginning to end. And we understand what happened at that moment. So it was a really special thing to come across as a filmmaker. Because things change if me as the filmmaker goes into the room. Like, had we been in the room with Randall filming, it wouldn't be as authentic. But the fact that he didn't know he was filming a documentary, he thought he was just filming his life. It's just, you can feel that when you're watching it, that, you almost feel like it's called Spyral, but the reason we changed the spelling of it to SPY is because you kind of have that feeling like you're spying on him, like you're a fly on the wall, because you're just so close. There's an intimate thing about it.
I think Valerie, you're muted.
Okay, sorry about that. I know there's many, but what were some of the most significant challenges that you faced during the production of Spyral, and how did you overcome them as a team?
Oh.
It's, I think,
I have a
sorry, that's just,
okay, there we go.
yeah. How much did y'all get of that question, and where were we at when this crazy internet took over?
Yeah, I'd start over. I think it clipped the whole question.
Oh, it did. Okay. Sorry about that. We're almost done here, and I appreciate your patience with this internet. What were some of the most significant challenges that you faced during the production, and how did you overcome them as a team?
Well, we put this together during the pandemic. So this is when everybody was still learning to be remote. I mean, we weren't used to working like this. We didn't get to sit in an edit bay and siphon through footage together. So Bill, the director, was in San Francisco. Lila, our story producer, was in Los Angeles. Lee, our co-producer, and Randall, our life story, and me, the producer, we were all in. But I mean, we might as well have been anywhere because, we were trying to stay apart because it's right in the middle of the pandemic. And so we just had to connect on emails and Zooms and, watch cuts remotely and find all of our extra helpers remotely as well. So,
The big
it
one.
was an interesting way to do something. When we went and did the world premiere in Los Angeles of this at Dances with Films, Bill looked at Randall and said, "This is the first time we're actually meeting in person." And the movie was over. It was premiering on the screen. It was the first time the director is meeting the person whose life story it's about in a documentary to do something.
Interesting.
For me on the production side, at some point, uh, it gets so raw, the emotions. Like I I still have the love that carries over to this day, and it's been near five. It's coming up on 10 years since the story was filmed. And I mean, where the story ended in tragedy and then start to be put together. It's been 10 years since I've been through the fire, if you will. But when watching each and every cut, it's like reaching into my own soul and just with a blender, blending my heart again and again and again. So sometimes it hits me hard. Other times I can watch it just like an observer with all emotion removed. It's just really depends on the day.
Um,
Reliving that again and again and again was tough during production.
And I think all of us took turns at the screening, walking out and like taking a breath and just going, because it was so intense for all of us. It was the first time that anybody was watching this and we didn't know how they were going to take it.
exactly. Oh my goodness. As an Oscar-winning documentary, Spyral has reached a wide audience. What impact do you hope the film will have on viewers, and what conversations do you wish to spark through its themes?
Well, I like that question because it puts us in the future. I would like the documentary to win an Oscar. We're not there yet. It's still in the film festival route. So it's starting to collect awards at each film festival that it goes to. We won a grand jury award at its world premiere, and it's won Best True Story at Cannes Worldwide. It came in as a finalist at Flickers, Rhode Island, and it's a winner at International Guadalajara Film Awards. We have a festival coming up in Ohio in October, and a premiere in Austin in October. And NAMI, which is the National Alliance for Mental Illness, they are the biggest organization out there for mental illness awareness. They have said this film is a perfect film to set up the problem for them to then be there to help with answers. So they are going to show the film in a private screening at the 40th anniversary of NAMI convention in El Paso, Texas in November. So to us, that was just, it was such a blessing because even before we thought director, the first thing that ever even came out of our mouths was we need to get NAMI on board because, that is the true essence of if we've done our job as journalists and, we're checking the box that organizations that are in this and really care about things being depicted correctly, give us their stamp of approval.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
and the plan, sorry, the plan is we are going to release the film in May of 2025 during Mental Health Awareness Month. So right now we are putting out some teasers, we're putting out some information, we're gathering the people that care about mental health and inviting them to private screenings before the big release.
beautiful. And I said Oscar-winning documentary because we're going to make it. We're going to make sure that at least gets nominated, and it's just an amazing film. Collaboration is crucial. Can you discuss some of the key collaborations that were instrumental in bringing Spyral to life and how they influenced the film? I know we talked about Bill, but yeah, if you can think of anything else.
Yeah. Lee Rothenflue, our co-producer, is also an editor and has a small post house in Austin. He ingested over 30 hours of footage and had to organize it, and really has just been the backbone of all the little things you have to do when you're a filmmaker and helping me get this, off the ground. I mean, we had to grassroots this, doc not easy to raise money for. They're not easy to get off the ground, and Randall has been such a collaborator in getting us what we need to make this happen.
I mean,
Bill,
we've sold candles. We've sold candles to make this film happen.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, Randall helped raise money when we were raising money for the film. I mean, we've all just been such a family on this. It's been a 5-year journey, and Randall and his daughter have been to my house swimming and his daughters played with my daughter. I mean, it's just, you spend every day on this for 5 years. You become friends, you become family. So everybody's mission and heart is in the right place on this, which has just been a beautiful thing to see happen. Our investors have been so loving and patient in the process. I mean, we thought we would get this film out there way quicker, and we didn't realize that the whole entertainment business would be just shaken up by the pandemic. And there would become freezes on buying, and then the festivals would get inundated with thousands of films coming out of the pandemic. And then there was a Screen Actors Guild strike and a writer's strike, and we were just, getting tossed around in this. We put it on the shelf for a while because we didn't want to get no's while everybody was losing their jobs and getting fired. So, we're finally, it feels like we're crawling out of the rubble right now, and there's just smoke behind us, and we're, finally, when it got its world premiere at the Dances with Films Festival this summer, all of a sudden everything just really started lining up in place. And also, this year it felt like the public was finally receive this. I don't think a year ago, I feel like people they didn't even know how raw they still were from the pandemic and what they had just gone through. I think finally people are getting to this place of healing where they're ready to see hard to watch things again. We were told when we were making this, oh, I'm sorry, the buyers only want fluffy kittens. And I said, well, that's great. I'm doing an animal rescue show right now. We're giving them fluffy kittens. But, a year or two from now, we're going to show them, what it's like to have a mental health problem in the US. So, I know you're not ready yet, but you will be.
And
Go
the
ahead.
other part of this is that the timing. I think America is hurting right now. We're in a politically divided country at the time when people they're broke. They can't get access to critical support services for their mental health, and it's just getting worse in their pocketbook. If you need to get a divorce or counseling and you can't afford any of those things, and they're just, the dynamic of families just grinding on one another right now. If this film can serve that they can point and see themselves in it in any way, that's us, we're going through a similar thing. It's not the exact thing, but it's a similar thing, that they will make and take the actions needed to get help. Our long-term play is that we can assist in that. We can be a cultural tool for mental health professionals and practitioners to use to say, see, this is something that is your situation now. You can admit you need help, and it's at the pry bar for those conversations. So I see it as an evergreen film. I'm not worried about commercial success or this. I think people will see it over time as it permeates, and someone will say, you need to see this film, and they'll tell them to look at it. So I'm excited to team up with the educational market, colleges, universities. I'd love to get out showing the film, speaking at events. And Jen, I hope, will be, she has so many more projects in life, but like she said, it's family at this point. It's not just a movie, it's a movement.
Well, and I just wanted to add too, I grew up outside of Detroit. My mom is a retired social worker for Wayne County and Child Protective Services. The issues in this movie bring up large gaping holes in our society right now of what happens when somebody in your family gets a mental illness. And this is how most of the people that worked on this film, we didn't even know this when we got together, but everybody had been affected by mental health illness in some sort of way with a loved one, friend, family member. And you see in the film, like Randall, is trying to save his marriage, save his child, loses his job. And then has to go to court and pay for an expensive attorney. How does that happen? And all these things that like nobody really talks about of how do you navigate this stuff, like when you're in complete crisis mode. My own personal life has mimicked some of this stuff. It's like, okay, you know, I can't work right now because I've got to focus on a mental health problem. Oh, and let me just pay this astronomical legal fee so I can navigate through the system. Oh, get therapy. Okay, that's going to be, you know, $15,000. You know, it's just like, where do
Oh,
you
and you
get
have to go pick up your kid now too. But because the babysitter's leaving 2 hours, and now you have to drop what you're doing, and you just lost your other job that was making up. Yeah, it's a cascading cavalcade of failures that can
Yeah.
happen.
So, and it's almost like the average person is expected to be the expert. Like nobody's been trained how to understand or receive a mental health illness. Like Randall didn't all of a sudden be like, oh, my wife has bipolar. I'll call these 10 numbers. You know, it slowly came on and you start thinking, why is this person acting this way? What a jerk, you know, like as anybody would. And then you not realizing that, you know, this is an illness that's coming on. And I don't know about you, but I have so many people in my life that I have mistakenly been like, oh, that person's such a jerk or they're acting crazy, not realizing that they are actually manic right now, or, you know, there's a serious issue going on.
Yeah, this has been a great interview, and I can't thank y'all enough for your time. How can our viewers and our readers find out more about the film and you guys, and maybe anything, Jennifer, that you might be thinking of working on next? Websites or just
Sure. Uh, JenniferHutchins.com. Mental awareness today.com. Spyral, the movie. Foundation. Oh,
this terrible
Yeah,
internet.
and that we do have a 501c3 with all entertainment business to be able to expand and go do these educational screenings. So contact us at spiralthemovie.com.
Right. Love it. Well, we're the Hollywood Times dot today, hollywoodtimes.net. YouTube is the Hollywood Times official. And again, thank you and continue your great award winner here. And we'll keep in touch. Maybe we'll meet in person one day. You both are in Austin, is that correct?
yep.
Okay. All right.
Austin.
Okay. Thanks so much
Valerie,
again.
thank you for taking the time with us.
All right. Talk to you. Hope to see you
Uh,
soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.